Yesterday, I posted a video talking about the death of Charlie Kirk, and it's been very revelatory for me to see comments, but also to hear comments coming from physical people, from actual being around people and hearing what they've been saying that have really made me angry and made me very angry at how could someone say this? How could someone be so ignorant? But also, that makes me so sad. Like, well, what's the point? I go that route very quickly. I get the point of, well, who cares about life anymore? If this is how people are going to act, if people in my own family are going to act a certain way, if people that I deal with on a day-to-day basis are going to have these thoughts and say these things and not be conscious of the repercussions of what they're saying, what's the point? Why don't, and I've talked about on this channel, alcohol and drug addiction problems. Why don't I just get high? Why don't I just get drunk? Why don't I just piss away life? Because what's the use? People are so stupid. They're so bitter. They're so brainwashed. And I have to take a step back and go, that's not the true essence of that person. People have been hurt. They have been brainwashed. They have been through things that have tainted the way that they see certain people, whether that's with an R by their name or a D by their name, or it's because of the color of their skin, or because their sexual proclivity, or because of they had this one experience, or they did this thing, or they have a certain religion. We've spliced people up into groups, and sometimes people just write those people off. A recent comment that I was just commenting was, all of Gen Z are brainless, right? And then someone comments, that's, tough to, completely generalize for this whole thing. And we do these things now. It's just easy for us to do. And I understand where it comes from. I was doing it the other day. I was saying that these people are insane and I don't ever want to talk to them again. And I have to take a step back and realize that if I had lived their life and gone through their experiences and had their genetics, I would be them. I am just experiencing life through this physical body in this physical space and time. And my genetics passed down from me play a role in how I interact with the environment, and the environment that I'm in plays a role in how I process whatever's going on. It's a constant, thing. And so if I was in their situation, I would be them and I would be saying those same things. And so I have to look towards the wisest people that I know, and the real essence of it all. And I think it's all God. At the end of the day, it's all God. This is just my belief. And we're just playing out these little things, experiencing it, almost like a test for us to get to the next stage of life after death. Who knows what that means? That's what I believe. And I think that if I look back and I see and I hear things like turn the other cheek from Jesus, it's like you have to not take what people are saying so seriously and really dive deeper into the essence of someone. For me, I can look at what they say, take that as reality, and get so strung out on it and think, well, what's the point of me living? And I think I'm going to title this video, I choose love over hate. I choose life over death. I choose forgiveness over revenge. And so many people are justified in their anger towards this heinous act towards someone. And so many people are also saying that act was justified because of what his actions were. And I say, turn the other cheek to both. And we have to not look at, in my life, if I look at things and I go, well, screw you because of this and screw you. Now, does it mean that their behavior is something that I'm going to condone? No. Does it mean that I'm going to want to engage with those people? No. Does it mean that I might have to cut off some people from my life? Yes. But what I'm saying is on the grand scheme of things, they're not a bad person from my perspective. I'm not a good person from my perspective. There are no good and bad people. We're all good and bad at times. I could be, like I said, if I lived a certain person's life and I went through their experiences, I could be just as bad or evil as them. I could be as evil as the most evil person that's ever walked planet Earth if I choose to, or if I find justification to be able to act in that way. I've done it myself, justifying my actions, living a lie, but justifying it because I made up, again, lies about the world and lies about this. But those lies become reality if I choose to focus on them. And this is my whole point of this video is I can choose to focus on the bad behavior, the things that people say in the moment, and I can get caught up in that, and then I can react to that and I can live a certain way. Or I can say, you know what? Yes, that behavior, that statement is completely out of line, but that person is not evil because of that. They're leaning into that and they have behavior that aligns with that, but they could easily have behavior that aligns the opposite way. And you've seen this. You've seen people go from bad to good. You've seen this. And I get down so easily. And I look at that person and think that's how they're always going to be. And I don't want anything to do with them ever. It's very close to me saying, why doesn't that person just die? That's a very slippery slope where I go, that person's evil. That person is evil. Well, why not get rid of that person if they are evil? No, the behavior is evil. The behavior is bad. The behavior is causing more drama. Let's look at the behavior. Let's get deeper into that person. Why are they acting that way? Why are they saying those things? And let's try to find ways of healing so that that behavior doesn't express itself in reality. And so I have to remind myself of that because it's tough out there. I can focus on these negative things so easily. I have to disconnect from it. And what ends up happening? I start disconnecting from people. I start disconnecting from everything. And being alone, no man is an island. I've talked about this in other videos. That isolation is not good for me either. So my main point again is I have to look at everyone as having the potential to be good or bad, good or evil. It's not that they are good or bad people, because then we start picking sides. I know I start picking sides and then saying this is good. Well, what happens if all of a sudden now I'm on the bad side and somebody says it's okay to justify killing me, as I may have said it's okay justifying killing someone else? Those things get blurred back and forth, back and forth. So we're all an amalgamation of those two. We have good and bad qualities inside of us. How we express those things on a daily basis, there's consequences for negative things, all right? We know we can't do this, we can't do that. But what I'm saying is we should start to lean into there is something good in people and we can get it out of them as opposed to writing them off completely, because it becomes very dangerous at that point. For myself, like I said, I get shut off. And who knows where that could lead me? Who knows where that could lead me? I don't know. I've never killed anybody. I don't harm people. That's not part of my life. But it's very easy to push that needle, as we've seen in societies before. We've done studies with this where people have taken, quote unquote, normal people, and all of a sudden they're, doing these experiments, and they're the famous prison experiment. I was just reading about it, where they pushed that line, and then all of a sudden these people are doing heinous acts toward another person for no reason at all. So I know that that's in my heart, and I have to check that. I know that that's in everyone's heart, and I have to be aware of that and realize that that's not them as a person. It's a behavior, and we can get deeper into it, turn the other cheek. And how do I influence that person? Is by living my life in a better way. I can't control other people. I can't make them think how I want them to think. I can only influence them with my actions, the way that I interpret. Now, having a conversation, calling people out, those might be instances that need to happen. But I know that the best way for me to do that is by living my life. I choose love over hate. I choose life over death. I choose forgiveness over revenge. These are mantras that I have to remind myself of, because it's so easy to do the opposite. It takes as much energy to do the opposite that it does to do that first: love, forgiveness, life. takes us just as much energy, and it's just a quick perception shift. Am I going to let that perspective shift? Am I going to let something react? Am I going to react to something in a way that shifts that for me, or am I going to stick true to what I know in my heart is the real answer? I think it's in the heart of everyone, but our perspectives have been tainted by experiences and all these things that have happened in our life. It's how things go. I got to live my life in a way that I know is true from God. All right. Whatever that means. All right. I have to figure that out. It's a day-by-day process, but there's some basic things that I can go off of, and I've talked about that. So anyways, until next time, I will see you then, and may God be with you on your journey.